Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that's an exposed joint just in midair.
Good morning, folks. Today, well, it's one of those days when plans have changed and things are delayed. We're still waiting on the chassis. We are waiting on a big delivery from Builders Merchant, which will be here tomorrow. We've done kind of as much as we can do.
The saga continues.
Just had another email from the cabin, from the chassis company. We basically said if they're not here on Wednesday, because we've had eight attempted or failed or just
really
non-existent deliveries. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So it's not here by Wednesday. We need a full refund because obviously these things are fabricated to order. It's £8,000 worth of gear plus £1,000 delivery, or maybe 7 plus 1,000. And at the end of the day, we just said, like, if it can't be here Wednesday, then we need a full refund. So I feel like that's the best we're going to get, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least we put our foot down.
And we'll just have to take the refund up.
Well, we've got a really good structural welder, David, who came up and did some work on the barn, and it'd be perfect to fabricate it on site, but I'm not sure we've got time now.
And whether he's got time too.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
And getting the supplies of the...
It's quite a lot of steel. But we've also got a special visit and our first professional on site. Apart from the welders, actually, they were the first on site. But we need to diagnose what on earth is going on with the electrics, because there is 6 or 7 buildings, all with power of some sort. And hopefully James, who wired up the workshop back last year, is going to give us an insight into what he thinks might be going on here. Oh no, that goes off. So it comes in underground, supposedly.
Yeah. You had your delivery yet?
Tomorrow.
Supposedly.
It's annoying me.
I know.
I'm not watching it.
I mean, James is here, the electrician who did the workshop, and he's going to give us a bit of a crash course on what actually is here on the farm. So this is where it all begins and where it comes up out the ground.
So you've got 300 amps.
Is that normal?
In total. Yeah, no, it's normal to have 100 amps per phase. However, whatever you use in here for 3-phase,
yeah,
you need to take that off. So it's whether, because obviously we could split that into 3 100 amp phases.
Yeah.
Supplies where you could effectively feed 3 properties with 100 amps each. But if you use,
it would compromise the supply.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we need to have a serious think about what your plans are for the rest of the property.
Yeah.
And then we almost probably be worth getting a design done.
Is it like ancient and
Oh
needs
yeah,
to
no,
be all
it's
changed
ancient,
out?
But it would make sense for Western Power to change it and renew it all.
Yeah.
Whether they would or not.
Because that's an ancient
really
meter, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can get a new meter put in.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that cut out. But all of this cable, because it's all that. I think it's like the old bitumen stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they start playing with it, I don't think they
Which
like
is
it
probably
too much,
all the stuff encased in tar outside. That's why they just don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Because it's just.
Yeah. So I mean, you can ask them, and you ask them to come and do a survey. I expect would probably be the best thing.
Yeah. So there's no 3-phase supply after that anywhere, is there? From what I can tell.
No.
Because that's single phase, right?
Yeah.
This
and then
32
they
amp
take
thing.
them- That's a single phase. So wherever that goes, that obviously
That
goes
goes
to
to
another
the
barn.
milking parlour, I think.
Yeah. We've just been disconnected with it.
No, I mean there's just. Oh, there is a light there.
Yeah.
I assume it's all dead.
If not, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice bit of twin and earth. Yeah.
So that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's got to come out.
yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing industrial about this place, is it?
No, I think it is literally. You can even see all the different generations of cable that have been like left in. And,
Different clip colours.
yeah. So this is the one that looks most fun. This, whatever that is.
So that's feeding something, isn't it? That armour goes out.
Okay, so maybe that goes off to the big barn.
Is your supply coming?
Oh no, that goes out.
I think they've joined onto an armour there, haven't they? I think that's visible
What, to
junction.
go off?
No, to feed this unit. I think. If that's the feed over here.
Yeah, which is just the normal twin and earth thing. Yeah.
They've done a junction up there by the looks of it. Exposed the elements.
Okay.
Which then feeds that arm here. which then probably feeds the board inside.
That's a switch.
That's your isolator, and then these are your tails that feed that board.
So what's that? That's an old.
I reckon this is an old
Style
board.
board.
Yeah, I reckon if we take this out, there's these are individual fuses. So effectively, that is.
So that's like an old school.
That's an old fuse
consumer
board.
unit.
Yeah,
Type?
yeah, consumer unit. Yeah.
Okay, with wire fuses probably.
Yes.
Or not. Yeah.
Yeah, and they may even have asbestos cloth behind it. It's like it was like an arc protection.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that's an exposed joint just in midair.
Okay. That's insulated by air.
Yeah, it's called placing out of reach, I believe is the term.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's probably more dangerous.
So no kite flying around. Yeah. Bizarrely, yeah, it is not. I just thought it was an old antique tractor that's been left there. And the guy who came up at the weekend, Hugh, who's doing the welding, said no, that's a competition tractor. There's a bus engine on it and a homemade turbo. You see, like, there's a traffic cone for the air intake.
Yeah.
And giant oversized tyres for like a pulling competition or something.
So
They pull weights.
Or it
Well,
did
I don't know.
It did work.
Yeah, so it's not meant to have a bonnet. So that looks like the only supply coming in.
Yeah, so that.
So it's coming off that little board.
Is it? Yeah.
It's been taped very nicely.
Yeah, there's no job there.
Is that beefy enough then for the 32 amp plugs in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you won't be able to put if you were to put 32 amp in it, it'd probably trip in the board.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, they were welding off that plug, but I guess they weren't drawing.
Yeah, I bet if you felt it, it'd have been warm. Yeah, I mean that's all they would have needed in here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They'd have had little, probably plugging in a jet wash and some
Yeah,
lighting.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
just lighting.
yeah. But I mean, for their purposes, yeah, it would have been absolutely fine. But
Well, we skipped on a bit now. We finished unloading the trailer, and James headed back home. He gave a pretty good insight, and it appears there's some pretty dodgy stuff going on there. The initial thing is to make everything safe. He's going to run a new supply over to the parlour where we've got a couple of white goods, and then he has he's going to spec up the supply for the cabin. So that will basically just mean taking a 25mm armoured cable underground to one of the buildings, and then from there distributing it as a temporary supply over to where the cabin's going to be sited. Lots to do, quite a lot of trenching to do, but at least we know we're doing the right thing from the out, from right from the start. We've got to make sure conduits in and things like that to make things future-proof. And his main suggestion was that we need to, although we've got 3-phase coming in and where the big stone barn is, probably look at getting a separate supply, a new supply brought in, just so that the house is separate. That way, if in the workshop we've got big machinery and things like that, those 300 amp single phases off the 3-phase, we'd be compromising all the other buildings if we had any big machinery running in the stone barn. So in essence, we kind of know what we need now. Gradually we'll work it through with him, but it's quite a relief to know kind of where we're aiming. Anyway, at least we know what we shouldn't be touching, which is the exposed terminal dangling in the air. We're a few weeks on now, and coincidentally, about a week ago, a couple of guys turned up from Western Power, and I asked them all about, because I'd put in an email request, all about the situation with the pylons, and they said, no, that's fine, those two poles are doing nothing, apart from physically they are holding up the grid, I guess, but they're not actually going off anywhere as we thought, so they're going to remove them both, and then they're going to put a second pole in up at the top just to strengthen that one. So that is the result. They're going to be gone. There'll be no pylons, nothing overhead anywhere near the buildings. And then on top of that, the underground bit that was picked up on the survey, that is going to no longer be needed because there's a new supply coming up the lane in the next month or two. So they're going to cut that off. That'll be dead, so it'll stay underground, but that's all done and redundant. So result all round, and there's no massive scary bill of having to either sink the high voltage cables underground at our expense across the land or anything like that. So phew, woohoo, good news for once. But there we go, we've got plenty to get on with the electrics. James is going to come up in the next week or so, make things safe and start putting in new supplies, and then when we're eventually further along the line, we're going to get a second supply put in. And the guys from Western Power said they can either put a transformer on what will be the last pole come down, or because there's going to be a new supply underground in the lane, we can pick up on that. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.